Tarek, we're fucking running late. God damn it. We gotta make this quick.
Yeah, movie just started, I think. And
Well, I mean, the previews just started, but we're gonna barely make it. But Daniel Radcliffe's in it. I think the director's a first-time director because if I know anything about first-time directors, I really have enthusiasm for him because Tim Miller was a first-time director with Deadpool, and I'm really excited that this dude is a first-time director for Swiss Army Man, and I'm really excited for this movie. So, Tarek, what are your thoughts?
Well, basically, from what I saw from the trailer, it looks so strange, so weird, but then again, the concept of a guy who uses another man as a Swiss Army tool is a strange idea, but hey, I just hope it's entertaining, hope it's really good, and
You know what the trailers have reminded me of with this movie?
Castaway?
That and Weekend at Bernie's.
Weekend at Bernie's.
Yeah, where they use the dead body to, like, convince people he's alive.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen that movie?
I don't think I've seen it, but I think I know what you're talking about. I've seen Castaway, though, so it's like a mix of those two movies, pretty much. Well, kind of. But yeah, we'll let you know in a bit how it is.
Thanks. The very last line of the movie is the perfect way to, like, describe this movie.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I don't know what to say. Like,
I'm gonna say this. This is definitely a movie that you have to go in completely blind.
right. I would say so too.
Like, it's so weird.
I have never seen a movie like this before in my life.
It really reminded me a lot of indie filmmaking, and that's why I think this movie's really strong, and that's where it has a lot of praise. Because I wonder if the director made indie films like Josh Trank, but God knows how that turned out for him. But
Yeah. Well, I think the director of this movie, I think it was Daniels or something.
yeah, it said a film by Daniels, and I'm like, okay, so I'm wondering if he's an indie director, because a lot of indie films, you know, have that card, a film by Trank.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if he's like if he started out as an indie filmmaker, because I feel that in this movie, and there's just a lot of elements that it's very artistic, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and there's very prominent messages that are presented. Like I know Daniel Radcliffe's body pretty much, you know, explores the meaning of life and
Right.
you know, all the tropes of being alone. And it's a very artistic visual movie.
Mm-hmm. Like, I was kind of surprised by that with all the themes that it brought to the table. And
Yeah, I thought it was a very emotionally pulling movie, which is very surprising from the trailers, because it looked like it was just going to be a stupid comedy.
yeah. And there was stupid comedy in it.
Yeah, this movie... Never before have I seen a movie that made, like, the trope of a fart joke funny.
True. That was...
So that's where I gotta give the film props for that. Especially at the very beginning. It's not a spoiler or anything, but the movie starts out with the main character about to hang himself.
Right.
And then he sees the dead body of Daniel Radcliffe. He like, you know, rushes off.
Yeah.
He steps off.
he
And he
forgets.
starts choking him because he's going to say, "Oh, wait." But he gets free from that, and then he goes to him. And he's talking to the dead body. He's like, "I wonder if you were sent here for a reason." And then, like, mid-sentence, like, he's talking to him. He's like, you hear... And he, like, shakes his head yes. And he takes his belt. And then he ties another noose. Like...
It's kind of dark humor, but that was funny.
Mm-hmm. It was a very empty theater, I thought. For, like, an opening day.
Well, it was kind of a small theater, so...
Well, I mean, yeah. And there wasn't a lot of people in there, but...
Sure.
They all had, like, the time of their life.
Yeah, well, except for, like, the kid and, like, the two parents. I think they didn't realize this was, like, an inappropriate movie, so they just kind of took off, but...
Mm-hmm. And that was the same way with Deadpool. I felt bad. Like, if you're going to take a kid to a movie, at least make sure you know what the movie's going to be like.
I don't, like, there's an IMDb page, and it says Parents Guide. Might want to check it out.
Or just a big letter, R!
Right.
But, getting back to the movie, there's really nothing to spoil, pretty much. Like, if you've seen the trailers, you know the plot to this movie.
Yeah, pretty much.
So the best way to talk about this movie is to go right into spoilers. So again, there's really nothing to spoil. The way to talk about the spoilers with this movie, you talk about what is presented in the movie and what kind of messages it brings. Because, I mean, literally the plot of the movie is a guy is stranded. He finds a dead body and he uses the body to help him survive.
Mm-hmm.
Like a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, except it's a Swiss Army meat.
Yeah, and that's where a lot of the humor comes, where he's using the guy's body as a Swiss Army knife.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you, it's like, it's one of the weirdest movies I've ever seen. Like,
Yeah.
I've seen some weird indie movies, don't get me wrong. Like, I've even seen Cannibal Holocaust, but this is like, for a movie that's in theaters, I think it's one of the weirder ones I've gotten. But yeah, the guy uses his body to survive,
Mm-hmm.
and eventually he finds his way back home, or at least to civilization. And that's another part where this movie has a lot of humor to it. There's really nothing to talk about without like ruining the movie with like spoilers.
Like, I don't really want to sit here and talk about the whole movie or like really many certain parts, because you just have to go see it for yourself.
Yeah, it's
just,
like, don't get me wrong, it's definitely not a movie for everyone. In fact, I
No.
feel like most people will not like this movie, but as for myself, I really enjoyed it just because I'm a huge fan of indie filmmaking, and that's something I want to pursue like later on in my life.
Mhm.
So I think that's where like it's gonna rank higher for me than a lot of other people probably.
a lot of other people, and probably me too.
So I think we can just go right into the rating.
Okay. I'm gonna give this movie an 8 out of 10. I wouldn't give it like a 9 or 10, because it's not, like, in my opinion, not like a perfect or a movie I want to keep going back to watching all the time, but it's definitely worth checking out. It's a very high Redbox rental. What about you?
I'm teetering between 10 and 9. Like, I really want to support my indie filmmakers out there, because as far as, you know, an indie film goes, I wonder if this had a small budget, because there wasn't a lot of big things in this movie. It was very contained, and it
Yeah.
shows that less is more a lot of times. So I'm thinking I'm gonna have to give it a 9 out of 10. I was thinking about giving it a 10, but the movie does have a lot of downtime, and I think it's not necessary. But it is a short movie, so it's there for not
Yeah.
long.
It didn't feel very long, really.
Yeah. So, with a consensus of 8.5 out of 10, this movie is definitely worth checking out on Redbox. And checking out in theaters whenever you get an opportunity to. But I feel like you should go see BFG first. You know,
BFG.
for a July 1st release, there's a ton of movies out right
There
now.
are. There's BFG, this movie, Purge election year. What else?
I'd have to check the thing.
Yeah.
Like, all the movies out. I'm not going to review everything, but with that being said, I want to thank you so much for watching. This is my buddy Tarek, who's always on this show. So,
Yeah.
thank you so much for watching. As always, I will see you next time. Peace.
See ya.
So really not much to spoil. I mean, like, a lot of the humor I want the audience to experience for themselves. But
Yeah.
I mean, it made fart jokes funny, so that's weird.
I mean, it makes like jokes about everything, like masturbation, about fart jokes. I mean, sex jokes, pretty much anything you can think of.
Yeah, I think really the only things to like talk about are the messages that it presents, and it's really visually artistic, and the way it's presented I really liked, because it's, you know, it explores, you know, the meaning of life and like someone who's completely alone, and they show that, and I don't know if because at the end of the movie, like, his body did go out into the ocean like a boat, like it did at the beginning. So I'm not sure if he was hallucinating the body or anything, or, you know, like he was drawn to it sexually. Like, I was wondering if the movie was gonna do
Yeah,
that.
like there's a part in the movie, so like they're like dancing because the guy dresses up as this girl that he has like had a crush on for a while, and he makes him think that he's in love with her or whatever, and like they like have a moment where they're like really close, and he like falls over. He's like, whoa, very drunk. And then there's another scene where they're underwater, and
Yeah,
he
and-
actually does like put his mouth up against his, but it's because he's using it for air.
Yeah, like the dead body is like perfusing like oxygen, and then so the main character kisses the dead body, and I'm like, oh, so now he's a necrophiliac.
Right.
but no, he was getting oxygen from that. But I think Daniel Radcliffe's body might have grown an attraction to the main character.
Yeah,
I don't know.
'cause
It's such a weird movie. Like,
It is.
those are really the only things to like talk about, except for the ending. Of course, he finds his way back to civilization, and
And it just so happens to be the backyard of the girl.
yeah, that he was creeping on the bus.
Yeah.
So I thought the movie was gonna have it to where like when the dead body was gonna get taken to the morgue, that he was switching the name so he could start over, which I might have preferred seeing done versus the kind of corny like I'm not gonna let them take you,
Yeah.
and then running off in the sunset kind of together.
Yeah, I kind of would have preferred the, like, because he does say, like, I'm Manny, and they're like, then he just, like, for some reasons decides to switch when
Yeah.
he's getting interviewed. And-
Yeah, because like it showed that his dad didn't care because he was sending automated birthday messages to him, so his dad didn't care. I think. I don't know. There's not a lot of screen time with the other characters in this movie. I mean, they're literally there in 5 minutes and then the movie's over, which
Yeah.
has the funniest like end title card thing. It just the end.
Yeah, the end.
I felt satisfied with it.
Yeah,
I don't
mean,
regret seeing it.
Yeah, I mean, it was entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not like I expected this to be like a masterpiece, and
Yeah. I do like how it was creepy for, the normal people seeing him in a dead body back in civilization.
mhm.
I think that's it.
That's pretty much it. Not
Yeah.
much else to talk about.
Just go see this movie. I mean, get your own thoughts about it.
hmm Yeah, I mean,
But keep your expectations low. Don't expect it to be like this big think piece. Like a lot of people think Zack Snyder films are like, and they attack me for it, thinking, "Oh, you just like think pieces." No, this isn't a think piece. This is just a very artsy movie that'll make your popcorn taste better.
right.